Hi Sagittarius, here's a general look at your solar chart for October 2015. And of course, Saturn has come into your sign and your ruling planet has made a move to a significant place in your chart. So more on that later. It can be quite interesting actually, because for you older Sagittarians, you can look back about 29 years, the last time that Saturn came into your sign, and see what went on then. With the benefit of hindsight, we are a lot wiser, and so have a look and see what went on then, and gives you an idea of what might be happening now and over this next 2 and a bit plus years. And also look back 14 years as well. That could give you an idea of things which maybe were even some things which were initiated 14 years ago, which are now coming home to roost. You could have a look at that as well. Anyway, I want to mention the new moon. The new moon is happening in Libra on October the 13th, and it will be at 19 degrees of Libra, and it will be opposing Uranus. So for all of the signs, it will be a time which which causes the Uranian energy to just pulse and shake and flap around a little bit more. And according to which angle it is, and in your case it's in a stunningly good angle to your sun. So on or from October the 13th, you may get an opportunity to initiate improvements related to that. So just to recap, Uranus is in an area of your chart which is experimental, it's creative. This is a good time for you to have been experimenting and with new pastimes, or maybe creative pursuits or enterprises. It's been there since 2011 and will be there until 2019. So this is also, but also always with the longer, slower transiting planets, there is this kind of waveform. So it will be those times when by degree the planet is touching important points in your chart, or indeed the sun, and for you Sagittarius, the angle is always important in astrology. So the angle at which it meets the degree of your sun is very, very good. So Uranus is the planet of awakening. Uranus is the planet of change, and it likes to be eccentric sometimes, unconventional. It likes to go its own way. It can be very self-reliant, but also it can mean that whatever is happening in the area that Uranus is sitting by transit can make you feel a bit tense. Now, this area is to do with youngsters, children, young ones, so there might be changes in their lives, which makes you feel a bit jittery at times. But of course you have to stand back and maybe just kind of come in when needed, as it were, because Uranus is quite sort of, it sort of flashes in and out, is that kind of idea of a lightning flash, or of a light blinking on and off. So keeping your finger on the pulse but not crowding the situation would be my advice for Uranus. Related to children. But the other things that it has been opening up maybe in your life has been to do with your creative ability, and the side of you which can play and have fun, and can come more from its creative core. In a spontaneous way, in a way which is not self-conscious. So it's very progressive, Uranus, as well. So this has been a good time for you to experiment with pastimes, with pursuits, with activities, with entertaining activities, leisure activities, creative activities, and experimenting. So trying out one thing and maybe just taking something from it and trying out something else, perhaps. And it's related to performance and entertainments as well. But it's quite difficult to settle into a routine with Uranus also, particularly regarding perhaps young ones, partners, romantic partners, creative or leisure activities, but all may be inspiring. And even though you might feel tense at times, through them or because of them, you may experience unusual situations which will probably be positive. Okay. Now, other news is that until the 24th, the solar energy is in the same area as the moon. And I didn't mention that enough, did I? So the moon is there's a new moon on the 13th, and from the 13th, for the 4 weeks from the 13th, that's the time to really initiate change relating to the creativity, relating to your maybe winging it a bit, or competing in a different kind of a way, being entrepreneurial, and these new beginnings which can be initiated by you, or which are just, their time has come and they start now offering themselves to you. Then you take those chances, you take those opportunities, and you make get things more organized, or are just more satisfied with these little tweaks or changes that you're making to do with that area there, but also friendships, network, group affiliations, anything online, of course, hopes for the future occurring over the coming 4 weeks, which is this is the time to join in, make connections. Really, that's what you can be doing over that 4 weeks, which will help with this overall long-term Uranus transit. Now, until the 24th, the solar energy is in the same area. So this is really lighting up that area, very future-orientated phase, and helping you to push forwards with things that you've been mulling over, that have been gathering dust on the shelf, maybe, that have been on the back burner. It's helping you go forward with those things there. And with Saturn, of course, coming into your sign, especially you early Sagittarians, it's taking it quite seriously and is turning up, is actually turning up and doing the thing, whatever the thing is, on a regular basis, because that's what Saturn likes. Uranus can be a bit more flighty, and doesn't matter if you don't turn up for a few weeks, but with whatever it is that maybe you've got you're targeting, maybe you've got your little saggy beady eye on. However, Saturn, now that Saturn has come to town again, says, okay, make a decision and then keep plugging away at it. Mercury's in the same area as the Sun. This is a good time to connect with others in a networking kind of way, chew the fat in the company of others. Friends can be very helpful with bouncing ideas around, but also you may find that there are others, you're making new friends, you're making new connections, and others could see you as articulate, you as knowledgeable, you with the information. You could be surprised by this, or you could be surprised by others' reactions, or they could be surprised by what you know or what you say. Mercury is retrograde until the 9th, so just be aware of that. It does tend to slow things down and means that things don't come together. So you've just got to dot the I's and cross the T's a little bit. Maybe certain things have got to be rescheduled or postponed, in whatever way. But it just tends to mean that the information exchange, maybe it's information equipment, like it's like communications equipment. There's some glitches with those. It can be working like that. It's been retrograde Mercury since last month, and it comes out of there on the 9th, when things should just kind of click, sort of go along more smoothly from then. And then from up until the 9th, Venus is still in this extremely long and very beneficial transit to you Sagittarians, which started on June the 6th. It supports good relationships with those at a distance from you, those with a different background or mindset or a culture, and it would have been good for travel during this time between June and the 9th of October. It would have been good also for you to put the word out there on a larger stage. And it would have been good for you to have signed up for a course, or to have got others to sign up for your course. You yourself tend to be valued or even admired for your knowledge with this position here. And publications or educational establishments have been highlighted. So if it's not about you directly, if it's about maybe somebody in your family, then you would tend to hit it off with somebody enough to be able to have, get a kind of a reasonable interchange going with them. And you could find others with wisdom teach you things at this time, whether in a formal or an informal sort of a way. And you can usually, with the Venus transit, which also rules money, get some kind of financial reward through sharing what you know. Or traveling with a friend, or just connecting one-to-one with others, and maybe speaking about things which are of a more spiritual or philosophical kind of a flavor with them. Mars is transiting an area where you have to put physical effort into achieving certain goals and ambitions. And Mars is at the top of your chart in the same area as Venus is going to be from the 9th. So Venus moves from this really good angle to your sun sign to the top of your chart. Along with Mars, Venus is going to be there, and Jupiter. So Mars says, okay, let's get going here. Let's get your act together. Let's take decisions, and let's aim for the target. And Mars can be very proactive here. You sometimes might get frustrated with any kind of energy which blocks you in that area there, to do with career, to do with your general life direction, or your targets, your aims, your ambitions. But if you keep a cool head and keep plugging away with the master plan, you should be successful, particularly from the 3 weeks from the 9th. Venus is helping to create very favorable circumstances there, with authority figures, with people who matter, with people who you want to make a good impression on, or just an impression on maybe, and just someone you feel close to probably will be giving you a helping hand there. Or maybe it's not like that. Maybe you yourself are the one that gives somebody a helping hand to achieve their goals. And then and Venus is in there until next month. And then we have Jupiter in that area there, but I'll just mention the Sun. The Sun moves on the 24th, and that means then it goes, your attention is more on the background area, on what you can be getting on within the wings, backstage. Maybe there's a need for you being more of a support, putting yourself out there, stepping up to the plate. But however it is going for you in this area of higher service, in this more spiritual area, you must remember to be of service to yourself and to take time out for yourself. This is no time to cling to ego, as if you do, you may be let down. So now Saturn has returned to your sign, and this means that over the next 2 and a bit years, scenarios and conditions around you will gradually help you to learn how best to take your responsibilities to yourself, your well-being, your aims and ambitions, your hopes and dreams more seriously, and to see how to slowly build a structure there from the ground up, so that you can be working with your talents, working with your dreams, your hopes, more purposefully, more regularly. This is the idea, and also concentrating and lasering in on certain targets which help you to build the new structures with you. So it's like step by step. It's the little goat. It's just little careful steps. But usually we find with Saturn, sometimes things get in the way. So sometimes through adversity, you'll steadily be building these new routines, these new schedules, outside and inside. So maybe it's about health as well, which will form the armature of that better, more comfortable life. And there's this sort of waveform with the slower outer planets. So you'll feel that energy, which manifests in these kinds of a way, but many other ways as well, intensify at those times Saturn comes close by degree to an important point or a planet in your chart. That'll be in your natal chart. And you Sagittarians born the 23rd to the 27th of November, or with 0 to 5 degrees rising, will feel this energy the most this forecast period. Now, Jupiter is always important for you. Jupiter now has started a long new transit up at the top of your chart, which means more doors swinging open for you career-wise. And you could be puzzling over which is the best way to go, which is the best way to get there. It's your general direction in life as well. So the Jupiter is the learning through doing planet. So you will be learning through discovering, learning through adventuring here in this area of career, area of your outer image and how you're going to be seen in your life. So learning through doing that and distilling the essence of that learning, so that you get savvy, you get smart, you understand the rules of the game, you understand the ropes, and you can then slowly identify more clearly with what resonates with you externally, internally, or the other way around, internally to externally. And early Sagittarians or Sagittarius rising born 3rd to the 9th of December, or from 11 to 70 degrees rising, you're going to be feeling that energy the most this month. It's sort of ballpark figure, you know, because it can be a little bit more on either side of those dates and either side of those degrees, depending on what year you were born. During this long transit of Neptune through your home area, you can, you know, become the prop that others lean on in the family. You can sacrifice your own style or feel cramped by what's going on around you, to do with the family. But as long as you have weighed it up and just sussed what is worth it and what isn't, regarding family, regarding property. It might be about property, it might not be so much about family, or place on the map, country, and just weighing it all up there, because Neptune tends to put rose-tinted spectacles on our faces, you know, and we don't see things clearly about point on the map, country, family, property, you know, whether somebody really is needy, etc., etc. But all will be well if you just set yourself to integrate your own wishes and heartfelt hopes and dreams as well, and you do not sacrifice those because that would not be good. You are here to become authentically what and who you are in this lifespan. That's what I would say about it anyway. You Sagittarians born the 28th of November to the 1st of December, or with 6 to 9 degrees rising, are going to feel that energy the most this month. And that's it for October. May I just